Alrighty, we are going to look at polynomial operations. So let's talk about a polynomial is. Poly means many, nomial means terms basically, so many terms. It's the sum or difference of many monomials. Monomials have one term. So the highest exponent of the polynomial is the degree. All things we should kind of know. Standard form means that we have the exponents listed from greatest to least. So something like ax squared plus bx plus c, that would be standard form of a quadratic for you, okay? We can classify them by the degrees and by the number of terms. So we're going to write them down so that we know them. I'm not going to give you like a vocabulary test on it or anything, but I want to make sure that you've heard them. So if you see this stuff, you at least know what they're talking about. All right, so if we classify it by a degree, if our degree is 0, this is a constant function. And what that would look like would be like y equals 3. It's still a line, but it's a horizontal line, but it's constant because the slope is 0. If we have 1 degree, that's what makes it linear, equation of a line. Okay. So again, those are both lines, but one of them is a constant function because it's a horizontal line. The other one is not. All right, if I have a second degree, what do we call that one? You know that, quadratic, thank you. Quadratic. What about degree of 3? Cubic. What about 4? Quartic. How many quarts in a gallon? 4. Quartic is 4. 4 quarts in a gallon. See how you can remember that? All right. What about 5? Quintic. Very good. Quintic. All right. And we could keep going, but we don't need to. We really don't talk about much past that, really. Number of terms. So if we just have one single term, that is a monomial. Okay. 2 terms would be a binomial. So what would 3 terms be? Trinomial. We do not have a quadnomial or anything like that. Past trinomial, we just call those polynomials. Okay. All those terms sound familiar? Yeah, okay. All right, so it does tell us in these directions to simplify and classify. We're not going to classify them. And if you look at the key, I didn't redo it. It's somebody else's key. The words are there. You don't have to do that. Just we should know what they are. It's fine. So we'll just mark out that classify part. So the first part's just adding and subtracting, which should be fairly simple for you, but we're talking about it because there are some very common mistakes that happen that I'm trying to help you avoid. On number 9, these parentheses, do they really do anything for me? No, they're grouping, but if I drop them, it doesn't change a single thing, so I can basically ignore them. When you have many nomials, many terms, I would kind of cross things out as I go so I don't lose track of what I'm doing. So I'm going to combine b squared with 8b squared. Can't mark those out. That gives me 9b squared. Then 5b and negative 2b would give me what? 3b. So positive 3b. And then negative 11 and negative 7, negative 18. Okay, we all good with that? Again, fairly, I mean, and this isn't rocket science here for sure, but we definitely need to talk about number 10 because do these parentheses matter? Did the first set matter? No. Did the second set matter? Yes, a lot. And this is where we make our mistakes. And especially those of you that are stubborn and don't ever want to write anything down and you're like, I'll just do it right as I go. I suggest that that's not the best idea because the easy stuff is where you make the most of your mistakes. I mean, it's a proven fact. So I'm going to rewrite this first one, 3w squared plus 2w minus 6. And then I'm going to distribute that negative because that is where the mistakes happen. We forget to do that. Or you, especially if you don't write it down, you're thinking, oh, I know to do that, and then you still don't do it. So minus 9 minus 3w squared minus 7w. Doing that step, even if you think you're above that, can help you not make mistakes. Doesn't guarantee you won't, but. All right, so then I've got 3w squared and negative 3w squared. Those zero out. That's nice. Then I have a positive 2w and a negative 7w. What does that give me? Negative 5w. Mark those out. Then negative 6 minus 9? Negative 15. Easy enough? Questions? All right, y'all do 11 and 12. Okay, thank you. All right, look to see if you agree with me on those once you're done with those two. Here you go. Wait till we're done because you'll have some time at the end, but you need to go see a counselor. Okay. And if you made a mistake, just make sure you find out where it was, because hopefully it was something simple and not just a complete lack of understanding. Okay. Are we good on those? Yes? Okay. Okay. All right. So now we are multiplying. All right. And when you're going to do a binomial times a trinomial, my suggestion here is that you just do basically distribution. We're going to take the x and distribute it to every single term. So let's start by doing that. That'll give us 2x cubed plus 6x squared minus 7x. Okay. Then I'm going to take that negative 3 and distribute it to all three of these terms. So that'll give me negative 6x squared minus 18x plus 21. Okay, you see how that's just distribution? Could I have made a box? Yes. Do boxes get a little ridiculous sometimes? Yes. I'm not a huge fan of the boxes. That is my personal opinion. So then we put it all together. 2x cubed, I just have one of those. The x squared terms cancel out. Negative 25x and plus 21. Any questions about that? Everybody good? All right, so then when I look at 14, if you're multiplying two binomials, you could have been taught a lot of things. The box method, distribution, FOIL, there's other weird things out there. My personal go-to would be FOIL. Okay, if you don't know what FOIL is and you're used to the box, I'm not telling you you can't do the box. If you need to do the box, do the box. But basically that's what FOIL is, just not in a box. So let's do a different one over here. Let's start with just x plus 2 times x minus 5. Okay. So FOIL stands for, the F stands for first. So I multiply the first two terms together. So x times x is x squared. What does the O stand for? Outside. So x times a -5, so that's -5x. What does the I stand for? Inside. So 2 times x, positive 2x, and L stands for last. 2 times -5, -10. Okay, so FOIL. FOIL is what I learned. And then there was the box, and there was all these other things, and we're kind of back around to FOIL because it's really the simplest. First, outside, inside, last. Everybody okay with that? So this really gives me x squared minus 3x minus 10. Okay, and that doesn't go with that one. I was just making that up so we could talk about that. Now, when I look at 14, I've got two different things going on here. You also have to make sure that you don't get your subtractions and multiplications mixed up and you don't add extra parentheses where they don't belong. I have two very large terms. I have this big term here and this big term here. Okay, thank you. They're given by different people, but okay. So do you see how that's two big terms? I am not multiplying this times this. I'm going to multiply this together, and then they get subtracted. Does that make sense to you? So we're going to do this first part here, and we're going to FOIL. So we multiply the first two together. 4t times 5t gives me 20t squared. Then I'm going to multiply the outside two together. 4t times 3 is a positive 12t. Then the inside two together, negative 1 times 5, it's negative 5t. Then the last two, negative 1 times 3, is negative 3. Okay. Everybody okay with all that so far? Then I take care of the second part, this right here. I'm going to take that negative 2t and distribute it. So negative 2t times 10 is negative 20t squared. Then negative 2t times 9, positive 18t. Everybody okay with where everything came from? Okay, don't get ahead of yourself and skip too many things because, again, that's where the careless mistakes happen. So now I'm going to combine everything together that I can and get, there's 20t squared and a negative 20t squared. Those zero out. I have 12t and a negative 5, so that gives me 7t, right? And then I have another 18t, is that 25? 25t and then minus 3. That's what we end up with in the end. Okay. Everybody good? Algebra skills that we have to have that, again, I know you know how to do, but sometimes I see weird stuff, even from people that usually don't do weird stuff. Okay, so let me remind you of something else right here, and I want you to write this down. X plus 3 squared does not equal x squared plus 9. That kind of mistake gets you sent to math jail. Probably solitary confinement at this point because it makes me so mad. All right? You cannot distribute that square. All right? I would rather you not have a clue as what to do as opposed to thinking that that is what you do. You with me on that? Okay. Kyle, what are you doing? Are you taking notes? What are you doing? Get off of that. Okay. Okay. So take notes. You're looking very sketchy over there. Oh, you know what that looked like? That didn't look like a dry erase marker. It looked like an Apple pencil, like you were a. That's what I thought. So I thought you were doing something digital. And I was like, what are you doing? Okay. All right. So here, I do not get to just distribute that square. My suggestion to you is to rewrite this as this is equal to 4j minus 7k times 4j minus 7k. Right? Does that make sense? Do that and then FOIL it. Don't be distributing. Even if it's something simple like this, write it out. So we FOIL 4j times 4j, 16j squared. Outside 2, 4j times negative 7j, negative 28jk. I think I said j twice. Then negative 7k times 4j is going to be a negative 28jk. JK. And then negative 7k times negative 7k, JK, 49k squared. Right, and then we just combine these two right here, and we get 16j squared minus 56jk plus 49k squared. Any questions at all? Okay. Now on 16, we're multiplying 3 binomials together. We got to do 2 at a time, but I can actually have a little bit of a shortcut here. Look at this right here. What is the difference of squares? So y'all remember if we have, like, if I had like x squared minus 4, that's equal to x plus 2 times x minus 2, right? So we want to be able to recognize it going the other way as well. If I have this, when I multiply them, I can do this. Could I still FOIL that? Absolutely. And you would totally get the same thing. But if you learn to recognize that stuff, it's helpful. Sometimes, though, when we recognize it, then we don't square things correctly, because all I have to do is square this, minus, and then square that. Well, when I square 2v, what does that give me? 4v squared. You got to make sure you square the 2 as well. So that gives me 4v squared minus 9. Again, if you didn't recognize it and you FOILed it, totally fine. You'd get to there. You'd just have a step it before this, before you simplified it. So I multiplied that. I got that. Now I have negative 3w plus 1. Now it's set up like, well, now I can just FOIL. Sorry, I was thinking it was a trinomial. Now I can just FOIL this. Oh, W, I'm making stuff up. Don't make up letters either. Thank you very much. There we go. That would make more sense. There we go. I think that maybe that's what was throwing me off. Now you can FOIL it. So FOIL this one and finish it for me. FOIL it on your own. Don't just copy mine down. Oh, because, nope, mine's right. Okay. Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm getting to that in just a minute. No, not until we're done with the notes. All right, we ready? We good on this one? Okie dokie. So on 17, I'm going to let you do this one on your own. But when we do this, you're just distributing. This one is set up like number 13, where you're going to take p squared, multiply it by all 3 of those, then p, multiply it by all 3, then negative 6, and multiply it by all 3. Okay? Make that happen. If you want to, once you get it all multiplied out, if you want to check yourself with what I have in purple, don't just copy mine down, write it down and check. What did I do wrong? Where did this? Where'd it go? Well, I had a cubed in this one right here. So these canceled out to give me that -2 and a +1 because they're both p cubed. Is that what you're asking me? Why don't you look like you believe me? So you have a cubed here, and so if I have -2 of, you owe me 2 of them, and you give me 1 of them, then you still owe me 1. So you'd have a -1p. Yeah. And it's okay if you're not as fast as your neighbor on this stuff. It's totally fine. I'm going to take all the weight from you if you don't have this down. Now you're going to have questions about stuff, and she's going to have to help you because you weren't writing it down. Okay. How are we doing here? Everybody good? All right, now on 18, here's what I suggest before I just turn you loose, because I don't even remember what the weird thing was, but somebody did something weird this morning and made me think I need to make sure you understand what to do here. You're going to FOIL both of these, right? So I would write this out as 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1 times -x plus 4 times -x plus 4. Now, these are called perfect square trinomials. There is a pattern to it. You don't have to FOIL them, but most of you aren't going to remember the patterns, and that's okay because you can FOIL it. If you know the pattern, knock yourself out, it's fine. But instead of like taking this and distributing it to everything, I would FOIL those together, put it all, they're going to multiply them together, simplify it, and then do the distribution kind of like on 17. Okay, does that make sense to you? So get that done. Once you have that one done, and I've checked it, then I will give you your assignment. I'm coming. Okay, good job. Those are like what we did yesterday, and then the rest is like what we did yesterday. Got it? Oh, okay, but, all right, so check this out. Once we FOIL it, all right, 9x squared, then I'd have plus 3x plus 1, right? What you have to make sure you do is there's kind of like brackets right here. There's not really brackets, but so here I need parentheses here, and then I would need to open my parentheses again to get that x squared minus 4x plus 16. Then clean that up, and then you have to multiply those two together. You see how you just wrote them down next to each other and then you added it all together? Okay, so we get there, and then you multiply those together. Good job. So as I go through, I'm going to multiply. Oops, oh my gosh. I'm going to multiply these, right? So 9x squared times 9x squared times x squared, that gives me 9x to the 4th. All right, 9x squared times a negative 8x is negative 72x cubed. All right. Then 9x squared times 16, that is positive 144x squared. Okay, everybody with me so far? Then I got to do the 6. 6 times x squared, that's a positive 6x cubed. 6x times negative 8x, negative 48x squared. 6x times 16, what is that, 96? Yeah, plus 96x. Then the 1, plus x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, so if your mistake was you just multiplied a couple numbers wrong, but you knew what you were doing, is fine. Okay, I'm going to give you calculators tomorrow finally because I got the labels done. But then what we should end up with is 9x to the 4th minus 66x cubed plus 97x squared plus 88x plus 16. And that was a yucky one, but made you use your brains. Okay. So now I'm going to make sure everybody has a worksheet. You were close. I think it was just a computation. I don't think it was an algebra problem. I'm sorry. Oh, I did? Okay, sorry. Oh, that's right. Out of pity, was that what it was? I gave you pity papers. Oh, I'm so sorry, hun. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't dent it. Do y'all have worksheets? Okay. All right. Then let's look at, I want to start number 19 with you. Okay. There are different ways to do this. I am not saying this is the only way to do this. I could take that negative 2, that's an exponent, and I could distribute it through everything. But I think that some of you would do some weird stuff with the 5. So instead, even though we were, you know how we were putting stuff from the denominator and the numerator and vice versa? It's because we were doing the reciprocal. So I would start this one by taking care of this. And since it's on one big fraction, I'm just going to flip the whole thing and make this the denominator. This is 5c to the 7th, d to the negative 4th, over c to the negative 3rd, d to the negative 1st. And then that makes that a positive 2 because I flipped it. Okay? Now, if you distribute the squared to everything and then move your stuff, I think that will make more sense for you. Okay? We just didn't do one where we flipped an entire fraction, so I wanted to make sure that I talked about it so it made sense to you. We okay on that? Now, the inside, the signs didn't change on the inside when I flipped it because I flipped it because of that 2 outside. If you had already started it and you did it differently and we ended up with the same answer, it's all totally fine because, like I said, there are different ways to handle it, but you would end up with a fraction and a fraction with that 5, and I know that really blows some of your minds. Okay, so if we can avoid it, we learn to avoid it and what to do with it. Okay, and of course, that's not the final answer, but get you started on it.